Master, being a Zen practitioner and philosopher, and the author of the work Bodhidharma Retold, can you please explain Zen and its historical roots?
Today is Buddha Purnima, very auspicious day. The day when Prince Siddhartha Gautama was born, enlightened, and on the very same day, it is believed that he entered into parinirvana or died. Therefore, I am very fortunate to present this episode on Zen Buddhism and stories on Bodhidharma. First of all, when it comes to the issue of title Zen, as perceived by several others, Zen is not a Chinese or a Japanese word, but purely a Sanskrit one. The root Sanskrit word of dhyana, which means meditation, went on to become Chan in China, and in course of time further got corrupted and acquired the shape of Zen in Japan. Therefore, what we see a word of Zen today is nothing but dhyana, which means meditation. Regarding the historical roots of early Zen, the founding father of this tradition in China is none other than the great Bodhidharma, the Pallava prince and highly celebrated medieval Buddhist monk. Along with the Zen, he also carried another monumental culture of Shaolin Kung Fu on his shoulders. Traveling through Malacca Strait and several other Southeast Asian nations, he arrived in China during the last quarter of 5th century AD, that is anywhere around 479 AD. Therefore, was considered as the first patriarch of Zen in China. It is also interesting to note that he is the contemporary of noted Sanskrit poet Kalidasa and appeared almost more than 300 years before the lifetime of Shankaracharya. Then, by undertaking prolonged arduous meditations for several years, as early record says for 9 years, facing a wall in a cave behind Shaolin temple on a hill called Uru Peak, Bodhidharma acquired another popular title or a sobriquet as a Bhikkhun Brahmin or wall-gazing Brahmin. Another interesting aspect being he achieved an extraordinary longevity. According to earliest historical available records, Bodhidharma lived for more than 150 years, apparently by undertaking Kung Fu and Buddhist Hatha yogic practices, and also by the secret practices of Zisui, which means bone marrow rejuvenation, and Yi which means ligament exchange classic. Like several other highly celebrated Buddhist monks of epoch period, Acharya Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, Tinnaga, Buddhapalita, Bhavya or Bhava Viveka, etc. Bodhidharma also belonged to the geography of southern part of India, particularly was active in the region of Dhanyakataka, the current day Amaravati, and in the mountainous region of Sri Sailam or Sri Parvata.
It was very interesting to know that Zen has its roots in India. Master, Can you please explain some of the distinctive features of Zen?
When it comes to the distinctive characteristics of Zen, in essence and at heart, Zen is a revolutionary sect. If Buddhism was considered as a rebellious against existing traditions of the time, the Zen is considered as a revolutionary within the Buddhism itself, which is surprising. In its art, culture, painting, calligraphy, or poetry, it follows a strange pattern of asymmetrical symmetry. Paradoxically, it's an irreligious religion, do not have any objectified God, but accords highest importance to a kind of godliness like Brahman, Tatata, Sunyata, or Hiranyagarbha. Another strange character being, it's completely a non-canonical tradition. It accords more importance to comprehending and transcendental experience rather than textual reading. And that being the case, there is no place for any monumental texts or enormous literature in its culture. And the early Zen threw away all the texts. Zen thoroughly advocated the practice of zazen or sitting meditations away from rutas or arthas or spoken or the written words. In several aspects, the Zen culture bears striking similarities with the early Vajrayana tradition. They believed the ultimate truth, Brahma Satya, is beyond the grasp of conventional language. Further, they said when spoken, the ultimate truth would lose its essence. The early doctrinal text of that Bodhidharma carried from India and advocated to his followers being the famous Lankavatara Sutra, so much so that the early Zen masters came to be known as Lanka masters. Another important text that we find in early Zen being the two entrances and four ways. It's a brief and abstract dialogue recorded by Thonlin, also acknowledged as armless Lin because one of his arm was cut away. A direct disciple of Bodhidharma who sat at the feet of his master and composed this text in northern China, Luoyang at Yangning-Si temple between 524 to 527 AD. In this process of such non-canonical tradition, bestowing paramount importance to silence, they used certain secret and abstract language which is meant for only an initiate. The language consisted often gestures, symbols, or certain signs known as twilight language or Sandhya Bhasha in India. Like early Vajrayana monks, Zen monks too undertook several secret Buddhist Hatha yogic practices. Another striking character being both the Zen and Kung Fu are extreme esoteric cultures, but not certainly exoteric. In the sense, these traditions followed utmost secrecy in every aspect of their lives, right from choosing a disciple or successor in the methods of teachings, transmission, in expedient aids, lifestyles, and even in death they upheld such a secrecy. Uh, then, surprisingly, early Zen monks were anti-historical in character. Means, when every person struggled hard to enter into the annals of historical books, paradoxically, Zen monks avoided same. They remained elusive, purposefully deceiving a historian, never left any written inscriptional records or vestiges. That being so, most of the early history and methods of Zen and Shaolin practices are completely lost forever.
These Zen monks seem to have lived very interesting lives. Master, can you throw some light on the lifestyles of early Zen monks?
Coming to their revolutionary, interesting lifestyles. Unlike several other monks and religious leaders who led a comfortable life and gained material possessions, Zen monks led a simple, non-monastic lives, wandering around countryside, never spending 2 nights at the same place, living in forests, mountains, groves, and cemeteries. They preferred natural abodes like caves. Even if they stayed in any monastery for a day or two, they labored hard in doing works like drawing water from wells, stitching the footwear of fellow monks, or chopping wood for kitchen, but never led a laid-back life. They have shown extreme aversion towards kings, officials, imperial courts, palaces, or politics, and stayed away from same. Like early Vajrayana monks, Zen and Shaolin monks also possessed certain superhuman faculties called as siddhis. Another distinctive character of Zen being the symbiotic relationship between the teacher and disciple. The Zen followers consider their teacher as a father figure and revere him like a deity. It is difficult to practice or perfect without the aid of a preceptor in early Zen or Shaolin Kung Fu traditions. Unlike most of the religious traditions where bodies are considered insignificant, therefore mortified, relegated to suffer, but the Zen monks considered bodies as temples worthy of reverence, since they believed the Hiranyagarbha, the womb of enlightenment, or Brahman, enshrined nowhere but within this same body and mind. Thereby, they considered mortal bodies as temples, worshipped, deified, nourished, purified, and invigorated their bodies, resulting in developing an extreme, unparalleled physical culture. Therefore, they advocated their followers to turn inwards. They used both the body and mind for transcendental experience. They followed in this process the triple body culture of Nirmana, Sambhoga, and Dharmakaya.
These Zen monks seem to have lived a very atypical lifestyle. Master, what were the principal philosophical beliefs of these early Zen monks?
When it comes to the philosophy or the doctrinal standpoints, Zen being a major branch of Mahayana Buddhism, followed void or sunyata, non-dualism or advaita, middle way or madhyama marga of Acharya Nagarjuna in letter and spirit. They rejected both the extreme poles of sin and merit and considered them as relative but not absolute. Zen also considered the real and conventional as a pair of wings of same bird. Similarly, nirvana and samsara, which means voidness and existence, viewed as two wheels on same axle. Interestingly, perhaps this is the only spiritual tradition in the world which is entirely shaped and pivoted on only one practice called meditation and named after the same. Zen, being a mystic tradition, teaches its followers through certain abstract short stories, metaphors, and allegories that intends to directly touch the heart and mind of a seeker. Rather, it demystifies the mysticism. These are some of the principal aspects or characteristics of Zen. I think you have understood. Remember, it's a brief introductory talk on Zen and its historical roots, etc. But whereas I will try to present you a more comprehensive talk on each of these aspects in near future.
Master, I am looking forward to delve deeper into this vast ocean of Zen. Thank you.